Now, our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, is live with us from New Delhi. Good evening to Siddhant. Now, the border row between India and Nepal has escalated into what could be a full-blown diplomatic standoff.
But it seems it's one of the worst diplomatic standoff between India and Nepal since the blockade. We know that that was something that the Nepalese still remember. But talking about the current standoff between India and Nepal, it owes its origin after the Indian Defence Minister inaugurated a road till Lippo Lake, which Nepal says that is its own territory. But after that, we saw a number of voices, whether it's the Nepalese president or the Prime Minister or in fact the Foreign Ministry, coming out with statements saying that it is the Nepalese territory and it is the sovereign right of the Nepali government to get back its territory. There have been a number of comments, including by the Communist Party, the ruling party in Nepal. But by and large, India has been silent on it. There have been only two comments officially on record. One by the Ministry of External Affairs, which said that this is Indian territory. And secondly, by the Army Chief, the Indian Army Chief, who said that what Nepal is doing is at the behest of someone, which clearly indicates at China. We know there has been a growing influence of the Chinese in the Nepali politics, and that is something that New Delhi has been worried about. But by and large, it's just not about the territorial dispute, but also what the Nepali Prime Minister spoke in the Parliament yesterday about the COVID crisis. Even though what he mentioned was the fact that due to the increased people-to-people interaction, remember India and Nepal have a long porous border, and Indians do not need any visas to go to Nepal. And a number of Nepalis also work in India, and a lot of Indians go to Nepal. So due to the high people-to-people engagement, the virus has increased when it comes to Nepal from India. But by and large, the comments coming from Kathmandu, the commentary coming from Nepal is something that is only going to exacerbate the current ongoing diplomatic standoff between Kathmandu and New Delhi. We do expect a reaction very soon by New Delhi over the new map which was today given out by the Nepali government. This is something that is going to irk New Delhi, because remember, New Delhi, like any country in the world, is very touchy about its sovereignty, and this is something that New Delhi will not take very kindly, even though issuing a map does not change the ground reality whether it comes to Nepal or India.
Right, Siddhant, and is this, what do we make of these comments, as you've mentioned, by the Nepalese Prime Minister about him going on to mock India by saying that the Indian virus looks even more lethal than the Chinese and Italian ones?
Well, so far there is no confirmation of an Indian strain of the virus in terms of the global discourse regarding the COVID crisis. We know about the Chinese strain and other strains as well, but we have approached the ICMR here in India. WION approached them. There hasn't been any response regarding the strong version of the Indian strain of the COVID virus. But by and large, remember, domestically, the commentary coming by the Nepali Prime Minister helps the Nepali Prime Minister a lot, especially when it comes to diverting the domestic issues, and raising a border issue is a standard thing globally by politicians, just not about Nepal itself. But by and large, we know that the commentary is not going to help India-Nepal relationship. This is a relationship which is a much celebrated relationship, a close relationship as known as Roti Beti Ka Rishta, or familial ties. There are people from India married to Nepali people, and there are people from Nepal married to Indians, especially in the Indian state of Bihar. So this can be considered as a blip, or perhaps continue for a long time. We know the Americans have also a short while ago, 30 minutes ago, reacted, saying that they hope that Kathmandu does not falls into the Chinese trap or it takes dictation from Beijing. But by and large, this is something that is a worry for New Delhi.
Thank you very much for that report. That's our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, bringing us the latest on the border row between Nepal and India.